Behind me is an R34 GT-R, but this car is no run-of-the-mill R34 GT-R. It was owned by the late Paul Walker. Today we're going to be talking to Sean Morris and get into the history of the car and also take it out for a drive. You're watching Fast Class.
What's so special about this MotoRex R34 GT-R is actually the first owner of it was Paul Walker. So the audition for the first Fast and Furious movie, Craig Lieberman contacted us and he wanted us to bring a few GT-Rs over. So I brought R33, brought a couple of R32s, we went to Universal and we did a audition, I guess you could say, with Paul Walker and with the producer, director, all those kinds of things. And actually, I even took Paul for a ride in an R32 GT-R around there inside Universal. But there was some photos later a friend of mine, James Lewis, had, and it was me and Paul talking about GT-Rs actually. And you know, somewhere in between there, you know, Paul and Craig had both mentioned they wanted to buy R34s. I honestly didn't know who Paul was, you know, he's just some actor, you know, and the same, you know, Craig say he's gonna do this. But like a lot of stuff, there's a lot of people who say they're gonna do things and then they never actually follow through on those things that they say they're gonna do. But in this case, Paul did actually end up buying an R34 from MotoRex. Craig also bought another R34 from MotoRex. So then this silver R34 was not Paul's, not the one that the character Brian O'Connor drove in the movie. Some people get those things confused. They get confused between the character and the actual person, whereas this R34 GT-R was Paul Walker's actual vehicle. He had it for a little while. He didn't really like the paint on it. You know, silver, it's a couple different things. That time that he did have it and did own it, it stayed pretty stock. I don't think he was really too far into the whole tuner world thing then. It was still fairly early in what stuff was. And there was another R34 that came up that became available. So this was probably right around 2002 because we had a customer that had a white V-spec 2 R34 GT-R. And the V-spec 2 NER came out and the customer purchased a NER. So then after Paul, you know, basically traded this silver car in on the white car, on the V-spec 2, this silver car went to one of MotoRex's customers in Hawaii. The customer in Hawaii did a lot of modifications to the car. It basically ended up being almost just like the R34 that was in Too Fast, Too Furious. Almost just like that car, almost just like Blackbird, basically. So while I was in Hawaii, it got seized by the DEA. And when it was seized, it was actually sold at auction. And a customer out in Texas purchased the vehicle. Then this owner had the car for about 12, 13 years or something like that. And I talked to him relatively often, and I said to him, hey, if you're ever looking to sell it, you know, let us know. I mean, we're interested in it. And so he really didn't do much with it. It pretty much sat. It had a big audio system, a lot of, you know, stereo gear and stuff in it at some point. And some of it was partially stolen out of the car, I think, when it was seized. And so then once the third owner there here in the US was ready to sell, we purchased it from him. So some people have asked us about the modifications and things on the car, putting it back to stock and doing things like that. And to me, the car's period correct, and it's, you know, it's got all the C-West body kit and the carbon fiber GT wing. Like that GT wing was, you know, $2,500 or something back then when, you know, when this car in 2000. You know, the body kit, to me, I really like the body kit. It's actually the same one that was on the Blackbird, the same body kit. As far as inside goes, you know, it's got like a partial little roll cage and stuff in there, but inside it's pretty stock. Then in the front, it's got an Electra dry carbon fiber hood. That is an expensive hood. It is really light. It is a really beautiful part. And it is really expensive. I want to say they were like $4,000 or $5,000. It has 19-inch Advan Sienna wheels. I'm not a huge fan of 19s, but again, it's period correct. The suspension that was on there is kind of blown, so I just put a set of Öhlins DFE on it. They're really nice suspension. Then as far as underneath the hood, it has some HKS parts. It has Tomei turbos. It has APEXi Power FC. Car makes pretty good power. Drives pretty all right. I pretty much drove all these cars, all these MotoRex cars when they were new back in 99, 99, 2000, 2001, 2002. I used to do the mileage conversion and a bunch of other stuff on them, so it's interesting nearly 20 years later to be in them and driving them. Along with it being, a very rare as far as, in the U.S. concerned, actual legal R34 GT-R, the history of it is even makes it, that much more special. I mean, to me, I really like where this car sits as far as modifications is concerned, because it's not too over the top. Like, it doesn't make, people want to make 1,000, 1,500 horsepower or something like that. And we're at a point now where these cars are, this car's 21 years old. I mean, it's just fun to drive, to me, like this. If I want a really, really fast car, I mean, we got some stuff that's much faster, but it's nice to drive how it is right now. The R34 does have a lot of refinements compared to the R32. The chassis is stiffer. It's got the 6-speed transmission. It's a slightly more sophisticated car. The MFD and things like that, the multifunction display has, the dash, basically. So the things on the R34 are, of course, going to be very popular. The R34 is going to be popular because of Too Fast, Too Furious. The R34 is going to be popular because of Paul Walker.